And so I think it's important that you understand the clinical trial process. I'm not saying that the pill is bad. I just want you to think about how to make health decisions for yourself. You want to be especially vigilant, especially staying on top of it. Once I got the information I needed, I started to move in that direction about how to make health decisions for yourself.
In your mind, what would you say to brothers that's not vaccinated, or just people in general?
I'm glad to hear you are protected, and thanks for being so honest here on Keeping It 100, because that's what we do. Hey. Welcome to Keeping It 100, where we have these open and honest conversations to make sure you have the information you need to make good health decisions. I'm your host, Dr. Kristin Motley, and of course, we have a really good show in store for you today. If you think of questions, put them in the chat, give yourself a shout out, say hello, let us know y'all here. My very good friend and pharmacist, Dr. Brooklyn Cobb, is holding us down today. Thanks, B, for being here. But let's get started. Bring in Dr. Jorge.
Hey.
The Puerto Rican Pekin.
Yes. Oh, what's up, Doc? Miss you. How you doing?
Jorge, how you living?
Hey. Everything's just peachy. Buenos dias and all that good stuff.
Buenos noches or tardes this afternoon. I got to brush up on my Spanish.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
But B probably know what to say.
Right.
Well, welcome back from Puerto Rico.
Yeah. It was nice. I had a little sneaky getaway. Much needed. Good time and spring break. And great country. I can't wait to go back. So, yeah.
Awesome. I'm really, really glad that y'all had a good time and was able to get away. That's so important. A lot of times we get stuck in the hustle and bustle and the grind. And yeah, you got to work hard, but you got to play hard too. So you got to put those in. And we need to, try to work on scheduling them in so that they're in advance and we have something to look forward to. And, just as much as we work, just trying to play, as much too, because we need to be putting that work in. So
that's true.
I want to relax as hard as I work. I want to relax with that, like keeping that energy the same as much as possible. But I am glad that y'all were able to get away.
Yeah, the balance is important. I mean, listening to some of my segments and some of the people we had on here, you're right. I mean, the stress relief is major. So you got to have a game plan to combat, your lifestyle and and you got to take time for yourself. It's hard with somebody who works hard every day and that's how you wake up. But that's more important than all the other things. So it felt good, though. It felt good. A little crampy on the way back.
What you mean crampy? Like your stomach was cramping?
No, on the plane, like we had a nonstop flight on the way back, and it was the only one available. And I'm not going to name the name because but it was just, I just won't be flying with them again. So
you live and you learn.
Yeah, going up though was nice. We was in first class. We was watching TV and all that. Yeah. But coming back, it was on there with roosters and it's all right. Yeah, it was a freight cargo. But it was nice though. I got away.
She set you up.
She set me up.
That was the setup. That was a whole setup.
Yeah, coming back, it was just like, but it was a night flight, so we slept and but it was like much needed time away just from everything. And I barely really used my phone.
Y'all were able to go.
Doc chased me away from the meet and I felt bad. I'm like, oh wow, okay, Doc, that's what we doing. All right, but thank you, Doc. I appreciate it though. Right. Yeah. Thank you, Doc. I don't know what's going on. If I can, I don't know if you stuck. Are you stuck, Doc? Our guest doc is frozen. She's in a facility that where the service is going in and out. So I guess we just need to bring our guests on until Doc can come back, so we can start our show. We got Porsche. Can we bring Porsche on?
Hi.
Hey, Porsche, what's going on?
Nothing. I'm doing great. How are you?
Right. How you been? Like, how's our favorite nephew? You got a favorite son. I ain't seen you in a while. How you been?
I've been great. He's been doing good, getting tall. He's in drum lessons now. So
Nice.
yeah, he's done really well.
Nice, man. Great mom stuff. I like great mom stuff. Like,
Thank you.
nah, it's always like progression, and that's a major. You're a super mom. I like that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate it.
So you know what we talking about today.
Yes.
Even before we start, I still want everybody, even people, it is some people that might not know you, even though you're known all over the place. Um, I want to give you, a little brief introduction about yourself and what you got going on right now.
All right. Well, hello everyone. I am Portia P. Um, I wear many hats. I'm a labor doula. I am I have a podcast every other Sunday called Sisters on Air right here on CFP Radio at 2 p.m. I have a co-host, Nene. I host events like weddings, mobile bartending. I'm a mom. My son is autistic and he's nonverbal. And yeah, I do just about any and
Oh
everything.
yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, happy Autism Month. So you walk in this month with us?
Thank you. Yes, the 29th.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yep,
Yeah,
I signed up. Yeah, we got a little Jace's crew team going on.
nice, nice,
So his
nice.
village will be there.
Yes, nice. And we're all part of the same village, so I'll see you out there in the
Yes.
mall. And
hmm
it's a pleasure to have you. So I don't
Thank
know. I guess
you.
Doc is trying to get back on, but we just going to jump into it.
Okay.
For some of our viewers that might not know what a doula is, could you explain what's the definition of the title?
Yes. So, a doula, we are non-medical, so we're not like a midwife or a OBGYN. We provide emotional, physical, and educational support to the birthing person who is expecting um, and experiencing labor or has recently given birth. Um, so the purpose of a doula is for the birth person to have a safe, memorable, and empowering birthing experience.
Mm, wow. Welcome back, Doc.
Thanks for taking over. I don't know
Right.
what happened. The internet was like, "Bye, girl."
Right. You was moving off funny. I'm like, what is going on?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So, Portia, I did hear you mention that the doula has a non-medical role, but you
Yeah.
help the expected moms through the birthing process, right?
Yeah.
How did you become interested in becoming a doula?
Well, to be honest, with my job, the department I was in the maternity department, and because
Mm-hmm.
of my birthing experience with um having 23-week twins and kind of like just figuring it out as I went, and the loss of one. I always been like an advocate for the NICU parents and helping them navigate, and if Crozier has parents that women that need to talk, they'll call me. I will come and just help them navigate through the NICU. So when the opportunity came, the Delaware uh, um, the Delaware Foundation, they had scholarships going for doulas. So my coworkers like, you should do it, you should do it. And I was like, well, I don't want to be like a postpartum doula. I don't know about labor. And it was like, just do it. So I submitted my resume. I had my interview, and they were like, okay, you're on. Like, we love everything that you're saying. We love like your advocacy. We can tell you have a heart, and I always have a heart for the people. And I just always wish like I had a doula to help me navigate, because I felt like if I did have a doula, I would know, because it was my first pregnancy, I was going in to labor the night before, and I felt like just getting the proper education that we don't always get, knowing our birthing rights, knowing, having a birthing plan, all those type of things, and just educating birth persons about what they can or cannot do. So as I did it, I was just like, oh, I really like it. Like I really love like dispelling the myths.
That is wonderful. So was it the
Is she stuck again?
Yep, Doc, you freezing.
Doc in a bad spot. I don't know what question she was going to ask you, Porsche, but I'm gonna pick up a little bit.
Okay.
So basically, you saying like you basically became a doula, like, but based off your past, like based off of your own experiences or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. So isn't that kind of the role of like the husband or the mate, or no?
I mean, yes, but as a doula, we provide different services. So we provide like comfort measures, where we do like different, we have the birthing persons do different like labor positions. So that might be they're on a birthing ball. We might do like pelvic hip thrusts to help them with the labor, so the baby can like descend more, they can become more dilated. We also provide like different positions like in the bed, like if they can't move out of the bed because maybe they had an epidural, they have the epidural in, or the bed is more comfortable. We do different positions with like, they have like peanut balls that you can put in between their legs, and those type of things help with like the opening of the cervix. So the husband or the boyfriend is there,
Right.
but 9 times out of 10 they're asleep. They're not providing
Wow. Okay.
they're not providing much.
Yo. Okay. No comment.
So they're
Right.
knocked out. I'm up with mom, like, checking on her, make sure she's okay, giving her like affirmations, words of encouragement.
Okay.
Because it can be a long process. Labor can be very long, or it could be very short, depending on the person and how the baby wants to come on out.
So is it really, so is the doula process based off of the full pregnancy or the timing of the baby, like the 9th month? Like when does the process fully kick in?
Well, it all depends on when they get, like when they get it.
Now Porsche out. Okay.
For me, I go in. It depends on when we get the referrals, because I'm doing like community based. I usually go in. I do 2 prenatal appointments with the birthing person, and then I'm there for the birth, and then I do 2 postpartum appointments. But it all depends on when they seek like help. If they get a private doula, it all depends on like at how many weeks they are when they get the private doula.
Wow. Welcome back, Doc. Part 2.
Lord, I done moved out into the lobby. I don't know what y'all
Right,
gonna
I
say. I don't know what kind of HIPAA I'm about to expose out here, but I am trying my best. So I didn't catch the last question. So G, keep it moving. Keep it moving, G. You doing good.
Right. No, I just was asking her, like, when was the timing of the process, like, as far as like when she started doing her doula thing, like, and be
Okay.
like, and she just basically was telling us, like, basically towards the end, she does 2 prenatal visits, and then, I guess around the birth time, and then I guess when they
And
come
then
home,
2
Porsche,
postpartum.
right, 2 postpartums.
Yeah,
So,
so I mean, I could get more in detail. So, um, with the 2 postpartum, I mean the 2 prenatals, I'll go. My first one is, I'm introducing myself. I'm letting them know their rights, their birthing rights. I let them know about like the different acronyms, like that they, let them know that, you advocate for yourself. You know your body, you know what's right, you know what doesn't feel right. So I don't want you to feel like you're being pressured into doing anything. Look at what is the risk, what are the consequences, is it something I need right now, those type of things. I talk to them about it. We also come up with their birthing plan. What do you want to do at birth? Like, do you want natural? Do you plan to breastfeed? How do you want it in the room? Do you want the lights down? I have tea lights. Do you want tea lights around? Like, you can make your own birthing playlist. Those things like that.
That's
Do
one.
you feel? Yeah, like, do you plan to move around? Do you want to do different comfort measures, or do you want to just stay in the bed? So those are the type of things we discuss on the first first prenatal appointment, and then the second prenatal appointment, we practice like different comfort measures. We talk about the stages of labor and what that looks like, what it might feel like. And I give them like different tidbits, like if like they plan on breastfeeding, I give them like literature about that, and just the different comfort measures that I prefer, like the significant other be there,
mhm.
so they can see, and this is what they can practice when it's time, when they're going into labor.
Nice.
That's wonderful. Now, how much does it cost for a person to have a doula, or is it covered by their health insurance? How does that work?
So it all depends on the insurances. Some insurances cover it, some don't. Um, and it all depends on on like the doula. If it's private doula, it can range from $500 to $1,200. It
Mm,
all depends on like what the doula's price is. For Chester, the Foundation of Delaware County has a program that if you enroll into Healthy Start, you can get a free doula. So
wow.
that's the program I'm under, yes, because they want to decrease the Black maternity and morbidity rate. So that's what they have now in Chester, and that's how I was able to become a
Mm,
birth doula, because they have a program in place where if you enroll into Healthy Start, and you're pregnant, you can get a free doula.
wow.
It's
Nice.
wonderful. So I actually referred a friend to that program, and she loves it. Um,
Okay.
loves, um, I think she's enrolled in the Nurse Family Partnership
Yeah,
Program.
so yeah, so they
That comes
they
there.
they kind of all like partner together. So one of my clients had, because you'll get a case manager through Healthy Start, and then you'll get a case manager through Nurse Family Partnership, and you'll get a doula. So with the case manager for Nurse Family Partnership, they follow mom and baby up until the age of 2,
Yes,
and then for um Healthy Start, they follow them up until 18 months.
Mm,
that's awesome. I think that
nice.
Yeah.
resources are really important, and it's important that people know about them and take advantage of them. Like,
Yes, yes.
are having children, tell your children that who are having children, we need to know, because they are serious about dealing with this Black maternal mortality crisis. And the only way
Mm-hmm.
to deal with it, a part of the way to deal with it, is to take advantage of these resources, especially when they are free.
Right.
I had this type of support available when I had my kids, and it's growing and it's great. So let's like create waiting lists to get more funding in to do more of this work. But we have another guest, and I want to introduce you again, Portia, because I had got knocked off. So we're gonna do a little intro, a little remix, throwback. So Portia Pinder is a woman of many, many, many hats. She is a mom, she is a labor doula, and she is the host of Sisters on Air podcast, which airs right here on cmpradio.net. So you can check her out there. And then our other guest for today is Miss Shanna Williams. She is a licensed clinical social worker. She's a doula. She's a certified lactation counselor. And she's about to be Dr. Shanna Williams in a little bit. Her research and practice focuses on Black maternal and infant health outcomes, perinatal trauma, and mental health treatment. So we are in good company. These women,
we're around royalty.
What they're doing, they holding it down. They are helping address this crisis, and I'm just like so thrilled to have you both here on the show today. So that was y'all introduction that I just couldn't get myself together because this internet over here playing with me.
Right.
But welcome, and I'm really
welcome, Shanna. Dr. Williams, excuse me.
Yes.
Hey, Porsche.
Hey, how are you?
All right. So one question that I wanted to ask earlier that we didn't get to ask, and I guess we can throw this one to you, Dr. Williams, is can you talk about some of the statistics on the Black maternal mortality crisis and kind of help the audience understand how real and how bad this issue really is?
Sure. So first, maternal mortality is any pregnancy-related death that takes place during pregnancy, birth, or up to that first year postpartum. And what we know is that the United States, among developed nations, really has one of the worst maternal mortality rates, and it continues to rise. And we saw this particularly during COVID. And of that group of folks who are passing away due to pregnancy-related death, there's significantly higher numbers of Black women. And so Black women are 3 times more likely to die from a pregnancy-related cause than white women. And depending on where you live, that difference could be up to 12 times more likely. So there's a variety depending on where you live in the United States. And people have identified multiple factors. All of them, though, relate in some way, shape, or form to structural racism and unconscious bias in the medical system. And what we know about pregnancy-related death is that 80% of what we're seeing is preventable. And so this is something that really could be eradicated, but we've not made the movement that we would have hoped we would have made. And COVID further complicated that.
Wow. Okay. Do you I'm trying to remember the name of the documentary.
Aftershock?
Yes. So that's when I first really became like aware and was on point. I really had no idea how it affected our communities and how many brothers and sisters was affected by this. I just want your take on the movie, Dr. Williams.
So I really love that film. There's so many things I love about it. But one of the things that I think is important is what you were just saying, George, is that there's not a lot of discussion around what happens after a mother loses her life, right? Is there ever really an identification of what happened? Is there proper justice related to what the cause was and who missed something and who should have done something? But the family that's left behind, the children, the partners, the grandparents, the friends and family, they are really shaken by this. And I have had the honor to hold space for people who are family members and friends of people who have died of maternal mortality. And it is it's traumatic grief that really impacts these folks. And that's often not talked about at all. So Aftershock really focuses on the aftershock of what happens to a community and the loved ones of someone who passes away from pregnancy-related causes. And that's one of the things I really value about the film so much.
So when you say racially, like motivated, like give me an example of like how could the like racial, like I guess motivation play a part on like the mortality rate? Like how do they go together?
Mm-hmm. So part of what we know is that there's a historical context for this. So we can look back to enslaved women, and we saw significantly higher rates of death happening then. We know
Mhm.
that they were not receiving proper care when there was a doctor that was brought in. And as the field of gynecology and obstetrics grew, it really grew based on experimentation done on those women without their consent. And out of those experiences, misconceptions and stereotypes were embedded and ingrained into the way in which gynecology was founded, including things like Black women don't feel pain, which I was
Mhm.
on a webinar with a group of doctors the other day, doctors and nurses, who said it's still in the textbooks today that Black
Wow.
women feel pain the same way. Um,
Mm.
there's all sorts of misconceptions about our bodies and the way in which we engage with the medical system. And although there is growing trainings and awareness of this, there's still a lot of resistance to the fact that racism is in the roots of this. And that continues to affect us in so many ways. And also outside of the hospital, we're dealing with more environmental racism. And so we're exposed to things in our air and our food and our communities that impact our bodies differently. We know that the trauma of living with microaggressions and the challenges of racism in society daily weathers our body, which is a term that comes from Dr. Geronimus, about how our bodies actually aged in a different way than our white counterparts, and that impacts our health. So there's a variety of things that are related to experiences of being a Black person in the United States that impacts us when we become pregnant and when we receive care.
Right. Welcome back, Doc. We were just talking about some of Dr. Williams with her highlights of aftershock. I told her that's when I first became aware of this problem. And so she was just going over some of the racial mentality, like the racial like, connection to with some of the deaths.
Yep. It's important in training healthcare providers is an important part of resolving this issue. So it's for me, it's two parts. It's us as a people. We have to know where the resources are and take advantage of all the resources that are available to help us through this issue. And then the other part is it's on the healthcare providers. It's on the healthcare systems to make sure that we're getting fair care, equitable care, so that our outcomes aren't so much different than what other groups are experiencing. Is no reason for it. I mean, we know it has a historical context, but we have to address it. We have to address it, and a lot of the work that a lot of us are doing now is working toward that, which is phenomenal. Now, Portia, I know you posted about your first experience in providing doula services a few months ago. Talk to
Mhm.
us about that. How was that?
It was really good. I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, Lord, the last time, I was in here, it was like showtime for me. So I have never been on the other side, like being support for someone else. So I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous. But it was really good, like, to see. I don't know, you're just speechless, like, to be able to see, like, life being born. It's a very beautiful and, like, humble experience to see, like, letting mom know. I always let them know, like, you're a lot stronger than what you think. The tears that you're crying now, it's all going to be worth it when you see your precious child that has been growing inside of you is out and, right there on your chest, looking at you. So it's just like, it's a very, like, beautiful and just joyous, like, experience to be a part of.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. Your first
Thank
of
you.
many, many. Um,
Yes, yes.
Shanna, I wanted to ask you about the importance of breastfeeding. So I have a niece who's expecting a baby, and I have a friend whose daughter is expecting a baby, and I'm like, I need y'all to at least try to breastfeed. At least try. Why is that important, especially for Black moms?
Mm-hmm. So for breastfeeding, there is so many benefits. And what we know is that there is benefits as it relates to health outcomes, to intellectual development outcomes. There is benefits related to attachment and bonding between a child and parent. But most importantly, I think one of the things we often do is we say, well, breastfeeding has to, has all these benefits and has to prove itself with all these benefits. But the truth is that breastfeeding is what breast milk was designed for babies. It was designed for human babies, just like a cow gives birth and their milk is designed for their babies. In the same way, our bodies are designed for babies. Formula was designed for parents who have a significant medical reason why they cannot produce milk. And what ends up happening is formula, because of the push right from corporations, became the standard, as opposed to breast milk is what you do and chest milk is what you give your baby. And if you cannot, for a significant medical reason, then formula is an option. So there was a lot of challenges historically with this, that we arrived to a place where we're not seeing breastfeeding rates that are equivalent to that concept that this should be the first choice. And it's not because people don't necessarily want to, it's because there's often not a lot of support, it's not promoted, and it's not really protected. There's a lot of things that come up as barriers for people who are trying to nurse their little ones, including having appropriate lactation support, and getting all of the connections they need to be able to have the time and space to figure it out. It's a new thing, right? And you need the ability to figure out how to make that work. So it absolutely is what our bodies are designed to do. It's the best fit for babies because it's designed for their body, but formula can be helpful for families who medically are not able to do so. We want to try to alleviate the things that are not medically related that serve as barriers to breastfeeding. Sometimes those are cultural barriers. No one in our family might have breastfed, and we know there's been a lot of things that have happened historically that in particular have placed Black families in a position where they're less likely to breastfeed. So if you're the only one in your family to do it, that creates a likelihood that you're struggling more, people may not understand you, you're getting a bit more criticism. It's especially important because of thinking about reducing cost, creating better aspects in our environments. When we think about the challenges that Black communities often face with pollution and things like that, this is one way we can be environmentally friendly. So there's a lot of benefits for Black families to nurse, but we really deserve a lot of support around those social barriers. And I'll also say that includes going back to work and having a workplace that's supportive of your needs as a nursing parent. Working with someone who is a doula, we know working with a doula, it actually increases your likelihood you're going to be successful at nursing. And then having referrals and connections to lactation care professionals who are actually trained. And it's important to know that many OBs and pediatricians often don't get the correct training. And so they often have a lot of misconceptions, and they will push people to formula because it's easier for them to measure and monitor. But that is not necessarily mean that that's the right choice for you and your baby. So having those supports in place, building your village around you of people who have already are nursing, connecting with resources like the Delaware County Breastfeeding Coalition, and having those things in place before you start your journey is really important.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And one of my questions was going to be about, who can women contact to find out, or to get the support that they need. So thanks for sharing that. I want to, I'm a strong advocate for at least trying to breastfeed and getting help if you need help. I breastfed Bria for 2 years, Noah for almost 3 years. And my family was like, how long are you going to breastfeed these babies? As long as they want. And I didn't have people around me that were breastfeeding. You know, I struggled and was trying to figure it out and had infections and it hurt sometimes. But I just was like so determined to not give them formula unless I had to give them formula. And it was not easy. I was very fortunate to have a job where I can step out and pump. You know, I had to go to my car and do it, but at least I can I had somewhere to go to do it. So, you know, I just want our moms to know that if you can just give it a try, don't turn it away without at least trying to do it and getting information and having the support there. It's so important. And contact me. You know, like I will try to find you and point you in the right direction. I just want us to not be trapped in what society is telling us is what's best for us and our babies, especially if it doesn't align with what really is best for us and our babies. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and I always, Dr. Molly, and I always tell my my clients, while you're in the hospital, request to see the lactation consultant there, so that way they can see you, make sure you're latching correctly, and give you any tidbits and advice. So I always tell them to, you know, do it there, and a lot of state Medicaids approve breast pumps as well. So that's a good thing too, because a lot of them want mom or the birthing person to breastfeed as well.
Yep. So I think, so use your resources, call your insurance. Most insurance plans will cover the pump. So get your free pump. Make sure you know how to use it. Don't use it before you have the baby. And take advantage of all the resources that health insurance providers give, that your jobs give, that the community is giving. Take advantage of this stuff because it's so important. We are so lucky to have you two on the show today. I want to give a shout out to the Foundation for Delaware County and the County of Delaware for hosting this afternoon program. We are doing another film screening of the Aftershock documentary and then a panel discussion right after the documentary. So if you are available, it's free. Come over to DCCC. Registration starts at 3:30 and the program starts at 4. And it's going to be streamed here on cmpradio.net. I found out right before this show started that
That's awesome.
the panel discussion is going to be streamed here. So that'll probably start around 5:30 or so. So check that out. Again, it is Black Maternal Mortality Week. So it's a lot of programming going on. Porsche, I saw that you all posted all the events that's happening. So check out Porsche's Instagram page. Porsche, share that.
Yes, and this Sunday on our show, to wrap up, you know, Black Maternal Health Week, we will also have doula Amia on the show, as well as myself, to talk about you know, Black maternal health and doula, to kind of dispel the myths that everyone has about a doula. You know, most people think you have to have money, or it's more like for natural births, home births, holistic things. And we want to dispel the myths. Like, even if you get a C-section, you can still have a doula. So we want to educate our community more, everyone more about getting a doula.
Thank you. And tell us your page again.
It is Sisters on Air. That's SISTAS on Air. We're on Facebook and Instagram.
Perfect. So check out her for that. We will be at
you.
Representative Carol Kazim's Mental Health Awareness Day this Saturday at the STEM School in Chester from 10 to 2. So check us out there. Remember, COVID is still out there. Get vaccinated, get your boosters, especially if you have not gotten one shot yet. At least get started, get one shot, and we'll talk about the second and the booster shots once you got your first one. And if you are older, I would say a lot of the research is saying 60 or 70 and up, make sure you have your booster, because those are the groups of people who are dying and getting sick from COVID now. So make sure you stay up on your boosters. But check us out right here next week, 12 on right here on cmpradio.net.
All right, thank you, Dr. Williams. Thanks, Porsche. See y'all in the
Thank
streets.
you for having us.
All right.
I'm glad to hear you are protected, and thanks